Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today on this DivorceRx, your prescription for the divorce process. And I'm really excited about today because today is part 3 of your financial fitness after divorce. And I'm so excited because the topic of money is a very important topic as we go through the divorce process. And here at the ChFC, we want to help you make that journey. We want to save you time, money, and your sanity, and that's what this is all about. My name is Vicki Townsend, and I'm the founder of the ChFC. I created the ChFC exactly because there was nothing like this out there that was a one-stop shop where I could learn anything from the legal parts of this to the financial parts to the investing parts to the how do I deal with my children parts to my home, everything. I just wanted a one-stop shop. And today we are having that one-stop shop about money and investing. So what I want to tell you is that this is the third in a series on financial fitness. So we have part 1, which is about being educated and empowered and taking control of your finances. We did another one that was an amazing webinar on actually your spending plan. I call it your budget, and now it's called a spending plan because, you know, it's about how much money you spend and what you need to have coming in so that you can pay for the lifestyle that you want. And it's so important. I love that one because I'm also sharing it with my children so that they understand how to create that spending plan for themselves. I will be empowering them for the rest of their lives with some amazing information. So when you go back to TheCafeD.com, go under your money and you'll find this series waiting for you there. And I have my wonderful friend and an amazing certified divorce financial analyst, Karen Roberts, with us today as we tackle the third and final part of this series. Karen is a wealth planning specialist and owner of the Emerald Financial Group located in Deerfield Beach, sunny South Florida. The philosophy of the Emerald Financial Group is to live for today and plan for tomorrow. Using a hands-on approach, they educate and empower their clients to take control of their financial futures, which is why she is here with us today. It's this education process that's so important to Karen, and she knows that when she educates you, she has a better informed client that can make some decisions that will create the financial future that they want. Their success has been enhanced by developing close relationships that go far beyond finances. Karen has 25 years of experience in the financial services industry. She graduated from California State University in Northridge with a bachelor's degree in business administration with an emphasis in economics. In 1997, she continued her studies through the American College and received her Chartered Life Underwriter designation. And in 2003, she returned and attained her Chartered Financial Consultant designation. She recently continued her education, which I love. This is what I love about Karen, is that she's always taking the time to be up to date with her craft, and she has all of the latest education that she can possibly get. And she earned the designation, which is really important for us here at the ChFC, as a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. She says many of her friends are her clients, but all of her clients are her friends. And so we know that that's the philosophy that we here at the ChFC love and support, because we want you to be treated like family. And so that's why I'm so happy to have Karen here with us today as we discuss why you should save money, spending versus investing, and all that entails, so that today we can get our people to move into action and make more money with their money. This is not a scary process, right, Karen?
Absolutely not a scary process.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here today. This has been an amazing series. I'm so proud of what we've created here with this financial fitness program. And what I love about it is that we took them from actually understanding what the financial separation was like through the divorce process, how to create a life and a spending plan that will keep them in a lifestyle that they want and can afford. And now today we're going to talk about how to have that money make more money for them. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you so much, Vicki, for having me. I really love helping people, helping reach out to people. I know that divorce can be so anxiety and stressful. So hopefully money, which I know creates a lot of the anxiety and stress, through these 3 parts, right? Through these 3 parts, hopefully we've taken some of that out and made it a little more manageable.
Well, what I want to remind everybody is to take notes. This is what I do every time. The last time during part 2, I actually took, now granted this was a smaller notepad than I normally use, but I took about 15 pages worth of notes last time, and I'm sure that I will this time too, because you know what? As uncomfortable as this conversation is, it's probably the most important one that we can have when we're talking about our financial future, because really and truly we've got to be able to pay our bills. We've got to be able to send our kids to the programs that we want them to be in, and we have to be able to create a financial future for ourselves that will support us in that lifestyle. So I'm grateful, and I know you have a presentation planned for us, which they've all been amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you take this away, take us down this spending and saving plan so that we can start and move into action.
Perfect. I'm very excited.
Me. So we're going to get your screen
up.
You're becoming an old pro at this.
I am, right?
Absolutely. Here we go.
Okay, we're good?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so far in the first part, we hopefully educated you. And through the second part, we educated and empowered you. Today, we're really going to talk about taking control of your money. So it's really important as you are thinking about or going through or even post-divorce that you understand your money, you understand what you have, you understand what you need, what you can spend. Alimony is all based on your needs and your ability to pay. So today, we're really going to take it one step further and have a call to action. So what we're going to talk about today is really creating a financial vision for your future. And we're going to, once we create that vision, then we're going to figure out a way to pay yourself first so that you start saving money for that vision. What I've discovered is once you know what we're working towards, then it's much easier to make your conscious choices to save your money. But saving isn't enough. We're going to talk about the difference between investing versus savings. And then we're going to talk about hiring a financial planner. Now, I know that thought scares many, many people that are watching this because they think that financial planners are out of their league. But I'm here to tell you that they're not, and they can be a huge ally through this whole process. As we've talked about, burying your head in the sand accomplishes nothing except for creating more stress and anxiety on yourself. So let's jump right in. And why should we pay ourselves first? There's many reasons to pay yourself first. First of all, you can save money towards a goal you have identified. You can improve your standard of living. You can learn to manage money better. And you'll have money for emergencies, like in case the car breaks down, or the kids need braces, or the kids have an activity, or you want to take a vacation. So there's a lot of reasons why to pay yourself first. But the question is, what is your reason to do it? And so what I want you to do is I want you to just kind of stay with me for the next couple minutes. And we're going to focus on really saving money and creating your vision. So I want you to take a deep breath, get yourself comfortable, and I want you to close your eyes. I want you to jump into the future 5 years. Where will you be working? Are you still at your current job? Do you maybe have your dream job that you've always wanted to do? Who are you with? Are you alone? Do you have a partner? Do you have a best friend? Is it the same best friend you have today? Where are you living? Is it your same house? Is it your same apartment? Is it different? Are you in a completely different state? Are you retired or are you still working? Did you change your hair? Did you change your clothes? Did you lose weight? Did you get in shape? Now I want you to take this vision that you've created of where you really want to be 5 years from now, and I want you to emblazon that into your mind. Are your kids standing next to you? Or have they gone off to college and you're finding new friends? Picture where you're living. Picture what you're doing and where you're working. Now I want you to open your eyes. But as we go through today, I want you to maintain that vision so that you know why we're working for what we're doing. When we're done with this, I want you to take that vision and I want you to create it visually. So if you're bad at art like I am, go onto the computer, cut and paste images, put it on a board, put it on your mirror when you wake up every morning or when you go to bed at night so you can see it and remember why we're doing what we're doing with our money. Because we want to, 5 years from now, wake up and be living that vision and dream that we just created. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So the question becomes, how much do I need to live on for my vision? And what am I willing to sacrifice for my vision? And those are two really tough questions that you may be able to answer, but you may not be. In part 2, we created the spending plan, which really talked about your income and expenses. So if you didn't have enough income left over from your expenses, what are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to be 5 years from now? Are you willing to go without cable? Are you willing to go without eating out? Remember, we've talked about conscious choices, and savings is another conscious choice that you're going to make. Savings tips. Now that I have you excited about savings and you really want to save because you know you're saving for a purpose, how do you do it? Consider needs versus wants. Do you need this? Do you want this? If you want it, do you want it so much that it's going to push your vision another year out? Or do you really want it now? Use direct deposit to save, which is part of saving for yourself first and paying yourself first. You pay all your bills, pay yourself, and put that money away. And we're going to really talk about where to put that money. Pay your bills on time, because then you save money not paying late fees. And the last thing I want you to consider, because I've worked with so many clients that don't consider alimony or child support as income. It is income to the receiver, and it is part of your savings plan to use that as income and put some of that money away for the future. It's just like if you were working a job. This is alimony and child support that you're receiving, and you should be saving some of that for your future, not using it all. Other savings tips. When you get your tax refund in April, put it away. Don't spend it. Put it away, knowing for your 5-year vision. You get a bonus check. Put it away for that 5-year vision. Are you utilizing your retirement plan at work? Are you maxing out the retirement plan? So let's talk about some of the things that drain your savings. Where do you waste money? Your home. Are you still living in your pre-divorce home? Can you afford it? Do you really need to live in that huge of a house, or are you just emotionally attached to it? If you're emotionally attached, I know on the ChFC there's been many webinars about getting unemotionally attached. It is a house. Your home is where you and your kids are happy, or just you is happy. And do you really need the burden of that huge home, or do you want to live that vision 5 years from now? Your car. Do you need to drive the latest model car every year? Do you really need to drive that fancy of a car? What if we could cut your car payments in half and save that money for your vision 5 years from now? Your kids, oh my God, your kids are your biggest drainers of money. Put them on a budget. So this is what I did. Now I deal with a lot of clients who their kids are in their 20s and 30s and still pay for everything. Okay? I said not my kids. My kids are screwed because they're the kids of financial advisor. So my 15-year-olds, as they entered high school, I'm pretty sure they thought that money grew on trees, that mom went to work every day and just printed money. So we put them on a budget. We put them on a spending plan. We give them $80 on the first of the month, and they have to budget for the rest of the month. They run out of money. They run out of money. So you want to know what my kids did this month? One of them saved their money. One of them went to the mall. They chose to want to buy new clothes that were expensive, and now he's got 20 days of no more money. And you know what? I'm not giving him money because this is a tough lesson to learn. Because does anybody give you more money when you spend all of your paycheck? Absolutely not. Your kids need to understand the value of money. The last thing is your debt. And we talked a lot about this in part 2. You need to get out of debt. Because wouldn't it be awesome, instead of paying $400 to your credit card for something you did 5 years ago, you could be putting $400 into your savings account for something you want to be 5 years from now. Whole different way of thinking. Meet with a financial planner. Don't hide from your money. Understand it, get to know it, and feel good about it. So a lot of people really don't understand how to save, and they really need help learning how to save. But they're scared of hiring a financial planner, and so what I find people do is they put their money into a savings account at the bank. Now, maybe 20 years ago that would have been perfect when you were getting 7% on your savings account, but today, hopefully you're sitting down, you're making maybe 0.02% on your money. So to translate that, if you have $10,000 in your bank account, you'll make $2 a year on it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You'll make $20 a year on it. $20 a year on your $1,000. But it's safe, I hear. Yes, but it's really not, because it may be safe in that you're never going to lose your $1,000, but are you really growing that money for that 5-year vision? So does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Question for you on that. Like, what is a good interest rate that I should expect if I meet with a financial planner? I mean, I know you can't say that, but you know, no promises.
Hold that thought, because we're going to talk about the difference between savings and investing.
Okay.
So let's say you're going to meet with a financial planner. You've never worked with a financial planner. What kind of questions should you ask this financial planner? So I'm going to tell you that I have some recommendations of questions, but mostly you need to trust them and you need to like them. If you go in and you don't like the person sitting across from you, don't hire them. But here's some questions you want to know. What's your education? As Vicki said, I've gotten a few initials after my name, and that's really more about the education than the initials. Do you own the same investment and insurance products you will recommend to me? If I don't own what I recommend, do I really believe in it? What happens to my account if something happens to you? A lot of planners are single entities, or single people. And if they die in a car crash, where does your account go and who takes it over? Really important question to ask. And then how are they compensated, and how do I pay for their services? So if they're not upfront with you on how they get compensated, whether it's commission whether it's fees. I don't care how they get compensated, but they need to be upfront with you. Oh no, I work for free. Let me tell you, nobody in the world works for free. Everyone gets compensated somehow, and you should know, because that will depend on what they make recommendations-wise to you. So just kind of 4 key questions to ask when you're visiting with a financial planner. But again, the most important thing is, do you like them? Do you trust them? And did they listen to your story? So, and I put this cute picture up here just because I thought, I'm not sure anyone would really want to work with him. Oh, he doesn't look very trustworthy, and I don't know if I could like him. Oh.
Yeah, that's a little. There's a little bit of a sleaze factor there.
Exactly, just a little sleaze factor. So, and most importantly, did they listen to your story, and did they hear what you have to say, or did they spend their whole time talking to you and telling you about all the products they're going to sell you? Okay? Nobody knows until they sit down with you and do a plan. If you came said $100,000, what do I do with that? Like, I don't know. They're like, well, what do you mean you don't know? Well, I don't know. What is that $100,000 aimed for? What are you doing with it? When will you need it? And never mind that $100,000, what else do you have? And what is your plan for the future? So that vision that we created in the beginning, I actually do that with my clients. We create a 10-year plan. We create a retirement plan. And we go back and we work towards that plan. So to me, it's not about where you put your money. It's about creating the plan and knowing that your money is working as hard as you are for that plan. So if we have you creating a spending plan, saving money, we want your money to work hard because you're working hard making conscious choices.
You know what I love about this, Karen, is that when you take your clients through that whole why, you know my why now, and you know that if I want to, go out and buy a new car and I want to get something that's a little fancier, you know that really ultimately what I really want to do is to be able to have, a nice condo on the beach in retirement, and you can sit there and say, does this match your why? Because when you're doing this, your why just got pushed back another 2 years.
Exactly. And sometimes, yes, people want to push it back, but if I don't know what their why is, how do I make any recommendations to get them there?
Right, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Exactly. So, all right, so enough about hiring a financial planner. Let's assume you have one, and let's talk about some of the specifics. Savings versus investing. So think back to your vision. We did 5 years, but maybe your vision is longer. Maybe your vision is shorter. Will you need money next year when your kids go to college or in retirement, or a combination of both? So I have to know that to know the difference between savings and investing. Savings is really short term. So everybody should have a savings account, even though we don't make any interest on it, because what if you get laid off? So therefore, everyone should have at least 3 to 6 months in their savings account of their expenses, not their income, but of their expenses, so that if you got laid off, you could pay your mortgage, you could pay your bills, and you have really 3 to 6 months to find a new job. What do we do with the rest of the money? We do what's called investing, and that's for the long term. Because remember, we talked about your savings is always going to be $10,000, but investing could be 20, could be 5, could be any amount of money. So therefore, it's the long term. And let's talk about how you invest for the long term. So this is what I want you to take away from this chart. See all the little pretty colors? I believe when you're investing, you should be in every one of these colors, because I call it all the colors of the rainbow. It's a little hokey, but people remember all the colors of the rainbow. So what does that mean? When you invest for the long term. But I can't tell you what investment is going to do well this year and what's not going to do well. So I want to invest a little bit of your money in each category so that what does well, we take advantage of, and what does poorly, we don't get as hurt by. So if you take a look, we're going to take a look through this chart at, let's look at US. Let's see. Let's look at REITs because that's the most volatile. So the REITs in 2006 returned the most, right? And in 2007, it was the worst. And in 2008, it was kind of bad. And then in 2009, it got a little better. And then in 10, it was number 1. 11, it was number 2. And 12, it was 2. 13, it was down. And 14, it was up. Now, if all our money was in REITs and we put that money back in there in 2005, we thought we rocked in 6, but we stunk it up in 7. And you want to know what most people did in 7? They sold it. And if you sold it, you would have missed all those great returns going forward. So that's why, to me, if you have a little piece of the money in each of the colors, you're going to do well year over year. You may not do the best, but you're going to do well year over year. Hopefully that makes sense a little. So then the next question is, okay, I understand I want to do all the colors of the rainbow, but where do I put the money? So let's talk about what is a mutual fund, okay, and where do we put our money? So in an ideal world, we want to take our money and buy individual stocks of companies. Right, so I would like to own some Apple, I would like to own some Tesla, I would like to own some GM, I'd like to own some Disney, right, in an ideal world. But if you think back to the other chart, if I only have a little bit of money to invest, I can't really buy enough shares in all the companies to diversify my money. So enter the world of mutual funds. Mutual funds were created back in the 60s, 70s. They really became popular. And basically what a mutual fund is you're the investor. You pool, all the investors pool their money together and give it to a fund manager. So me, Vicki, everyone listening to this, everyone on ChFC, everyone who's ever been divorced, pools all their money together and hands it to a fund manager. That fund manager then takes and invests it in individual stocks. But now they can buy a whole lot more stocks because they have a whole lot more money. And so now they can diversify it. The fund manager is told by prospectus, which is this huge book you get that no one ever reads, but the legalese says the fund manager must invest in a certain type of stock. So whether it's an American stock, an international stock, a bond, real estate, it doesn't matter. The fund manager is told what type he has to do. He picks the stocks that he likes. So maybe he likes Apple, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he invests in it, maybe he doesn't. But if he's told to invest in U.S. stocks, then Apple's probably one of your holdings. So through the securities, it generates returns. Those returns are then passed back to the investors. So that's how a mutual fund works. You can put money in lump sum. You can put money in monthly. You can take money out monthly. So again, unlike savings, the difference between a mutual fund is it has returns. Sometimes the returns are really good. Sometimes the returns, like right now, are really bad because the markets are really bad. So if you lost your job today, your mutual fund may be down. And that's why I always like to keep money in savings and not all invested in a mutual fund. So other types of investments. An annuity. What is an annuity? It's really guaranteed income for life. So I know everybody hears about annuities. They're all over the news. They're good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, whatever. I'm not here to tell you you need an annuity or you don't need an annuity. What I'm here telling you is just the difference in the investments. And so what makes an annuity different from a mutual fund? Because the internal investments of an annuity are kind of like a mutual fund, but an annuity guarantees income for life. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of annuities. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do that, but understand that annuities is a guaranteed income for life. Now, which one, or should you even own it? I have no idea because I don't know what your vision is. Again, just trying to give you some education so that you can be empowered and take control of your money. Let's talk about insurance. When you're seeing your financial planner, this should be a topic that comes up. We talked about life insurance, I think in part 1, when we talked about if you're receiving alimony or child support, do you have life insurance on your ex who's paying that support? And if you do have the life insurance, you should be the owner and the beneficiary of it. But now let's talk about you. Because let's say you have custody of the kids also, or you have a big mortgage on your house. You need life insurance in the event that you pass away. Who's going to raise your kids? Is there enough money? And who's going to pay off your debts? Your debts don't go away when you die. They go down to whoever you leave with your will. So you want to make sure you have enough life insurance. Disability insurance. Disability is about not being able to work. So let's say you're 40 years old, you have your vision, you're saving money, you're devastated by a heart attack, and you can never work again. If you don't have disability insurance, replaces your lost income. That's all it does. Is if you can't work, it still gives you a paycheck. Long-term care insurance protects you when you're older, although I like people to get it in their 50s, against needing a nursing home or needing someone to come in and take care of you. If you're now post-divorce, there's no longer a spouse there that's going to come in and take care of you. Do you really want your kids changing your diapers? Like that visual. Other types of insurance, renters and homeowners insurance. Please make sure if you're renting somewhere, you still have renter's insurance. The landlord only pays to replace the building. All of the contents is covered under your renter's insurance. And flood insurance, depending upon where you live, flood insurance is relatively inexpensive. And if you've been watching the news, everyone needs flood insurance because that covers if your house floods. So when we're talking about the insurances, let's talk beneficiaries. I cannot tell you how many times someone dies and the ex-spouse is still the beneficiary versus the current partner, spouse, or kids. Do you want your ex to be the beneficiary of everything? Probably not. So this goes to life insurance as well as your IRAs and your 401ks. A lot of people forget to change their beneficiary on their 401k or their IRA. You need to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date and the money goes to who you want, because a beneficiary is a legally binding contract and cannot be changed. So while we're talking about beneficiaries, let's talk about wills. Okay? Is your will still pre-divorce? Do you really want your ex making healthcare choices for you? Do you really want your ex as your power of attorney? Now, some people will say yes because they had a really good divorce, but I'm going to venture to say most people will be like, oh, I don't want my ex anywhere near my end-of-life care. You need post-divorce to update your wills, update your healthcare proxy, and redo your power of attorney. Please, before you need them, you need someone else making decisions for you. So I have a will, and I want to name my children beneficiary. There's really no one else I want to name as beneficiary. So let's talk about that. It's really simple to name the child as beneficiary. It does cut out the spouse, sort of. Because if your kids are under 18 and you don't have a trust, then your spouse, as the legal guardians of your kids, are going to have access to the money for their health and welfare. So again, by naming the kids who are under 18 without a trust, yeah, your spouse gets your money, your ex-spouse gets your money again. So, and you're going to have to go through probate. So you really want to be careful of naming your under 18 kids. What I try and advise people to do you have a sister or brother that maybe could manage the money? Who is going to be guardian of the kids? If the kids go back to the ex, which is most of the time, you don't want him to access the money. So have a sibling manage the money that'll keep them in the child's life, and they'll be able to hand out money as needed for what they deem until the kids reach the age where they can then handle the money.
Can I ask you a question about probate? I'm really confused about this. Probate court, a will, even I thought that a will keeps you out of probate court.
No, a will always goes through probate. A trust keeps you out of probate court. A will goes through probate. But probate's not as bad as people think it is. I know it says on here you need to go through probate. But probate is really not as bad of a process if you have a smaller estate. It's really not that big of an issue. A lot of times, though, even on your investment accounts, you can do what's called a transfer on death. And so that person that you name has no control over your account, but it will transfer on death to that person, therefore avoiding probate.
And then they get it when you say they have no access to it, and then they have control over it?
Yes. So again, if you have underage children or children that you don't trust in general with money, then
right.
If you leave it to your sibling, so then it's your account. So it'd be my account, Karen Roberts. I'm the account owner. I have all control, but it's a transfer on death to Alice Roberts, my sister. Okay. When I die, she would get all the money, knowing that it was to be spent on my kids. So you better trust that person to spend it back on the kids.
So my kids are over 18.
Okay.
And I want them to have everything. It's best for me then to put it into a trust, and then the trust goes to them. Can I do it to them both equally?
You can do it to them both equally. And what I try and tell people is, I don't know your kids, right? So I always preface it by saying I don't know your kids, but most kids are not very responsible. So what we do is when we drop the will, we put they're going to get a third at 25, a third at 30, and the rest at 35. Because I figure at 25 they're graduating college and starting a life, and they're kind of still stupid.
Right.
At 30, hopefully they're more mature and more responsible. And at 35, if they don't have their acts together, it's not my problem anymore.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, all right, great. Okay, good.
Right, because I always think if I got a huge chunk of money at 21, my whole life would be different. Because I was irresponsible at 21. I was still in college and partying. Right, I didn't really start growing up until my 30s.
Okay, yeah, I could see that in one of my children's futures.
Right, so, and every child is different, but I never like to call children out in a will, so therefore I just do it equally across the board.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So, all right, so that's kind of wills, and again, this is just a really quick overview of some of this stuff. Long-term care insurance. Again, long-term care for people that are in their 50s, I think it's mandatory. It's the largest out-of-pocket cost for adults over 60. Long-term care insurance really pays if you need someone to come into the home to take care of you, or if you need to go to a facility. So again, just another form of insurance that you should be talking about with your financial planner. Renters and flood, we kind of talked about already. So in the end, we've done a lot through this 3-part series of really teaching you about the financial dynamics of a divorce. What's the difference between alimony? What's the difference between child support? How is all that determined? What happens with the marital home? All assets are not created equal in a divorce. That was all part 1. When we did part 2, we talked about creating a spending plan, credit card debt, how to avoid it, what to do about it. And then today, hopefully I got you to take action and really create your future vision, because if your vision is strong enough, then number 2, meeting with a financial planner shouldn't be hard. I know the first meeting is scary. Ask around for referrals, because I promise you your friends use financial planners. We just never talk about money in our society. Talk to people, check them out on the website, check them out on Google them, make sure they have a LinkedIn, make sure they have a website, make sure they're legit, make sure you trust them, make sure you like them, and then tell them your vision and help them help you get to your future.
Oh, Karen, this was awesome, because what I love about it is that having somebody like you, you are an uninterested third party. You're not emotionally connected to my day-to-day goings-on, and you can be the voice of reason when I go to the Mercedes dealership when I really need to be going to the Ford dealership, right? I mean, you have no horse in this race other than to keep me on track for the vision and the dream that I have wanted to create for myself. And
Correct.
in itself is that's a pretty important role, because you need somebody. I'm going to go through my notes because I did write down a couple of things.
Right. And so Vicki, on that note, I tell people when they come in that I'm your unemotional partner, and I keep tissues in my conference room, because I know that these conversations are emotional. I know it's hard sometimes to understand where you are. So we keep tissues in here, and that's okay. It's just important that you take that first step.
Right. So you know what? Did you tell me what is a good interest rate on investments? I mean, is there a way that is there an average rate of return? When you put that chart up, and gosh, I was kind of overwhelmed by it at first, and then I kind of, once you explained it and I could see that it was by the year, that I could digest that, and I could see that there were some really big numbers, and
yes,
then there were some that had a negative in front of them, and I went, oh, yeah. So at the end of the day, if you have all of that rainbow in your portfolio, what would be a good number at the bottom of it all when it's all averaged out? Is that 5%, 2%, 100%?
So your investments should really be earning you 8 to 9% a year.
8 to 9, okay.
8 to 9%, right. So again, your savings account is going to earn 0.02. If you're lucky, maybe it'll earn 0.05. But your investment, and again, that's not every year. So when we use an average, that's all it is. Because some years you're going to, and this is what I tell people, some years you're going to return 40%, some years you're going to be minus 40. So by doing that asset allocation with all the colors of the rainbow, I try and pull it in so that my clients, some years will return 20, and some years will return a negative 20. But overall, over a 5 years or 10-year process, we really want to average 8 to 9%.
Okay. I think listen, that's a heck of a lot better than a savings plan, isn't that?
Absolutely. But you have to be able to live through that negative, which is why you have to like and trust your advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? One of the things that I wanted to ask you, and I think that it's really important that we talk about this, is that that big why that we all did at the beginning of this. How important do you think that is to get your kids and your family members invested in your why?
It's huge. It's huge. So when I create, so I'm a planner by nature. As my husband says, I always have a 5-year plan. But when we sat down and really created our vision for our retirement, he had to be part of that vision. So the kids know some of that vision. You know, they kind of know that we want to do family vacations every 2 to 3 years, that we want them home for Thanksgiving. So they know some of that vision, but really he and I had to be on the same page. So I think that if you're with a partner, you have to be on the same page. If you're single, you have to know what your vision is, and then get your kids involved so they understand why we're not going to Disney every month, or why we're not spending money here, or why we're not doing this, because kids honestly have no understanding of money.
And so let me ask you this. I agree with that 100%. And that's why I still do want to have everybody really consider particularly part 2, and actually all 3, but sharing these not only with those friends and family members, and even about your own divorce, or somebody that you know that's about to go through divorce, or they've been through divorce, that can watch these 3 this series. But get your kids to listen to this. This is really about creating a financial future for everyone in your family, not just your financial future, but theirs as well. I mean, I want my children to really have a future without their head in the sand. And so that's what I love the most about this whole thing, and I'm so glad that we did this together, because it is such a bigger picture.
It makes me crazy when I hear about, especially college kids whose parents pay all their bills. Stop paying their bills for them. If they're going to get in trouble, let them get in trouble while you still have control. Send them money, let them pay their rent, let them pay for their food, let them do what they need to do with that money, but don't pay their bills for them, or they're never going to understand how much rent really costs.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that is something that I will be stopping this month. My son will be responsible for paying his own rent. And I think that, yeah, getting and understanding that. I am so excited about this, because I'm going to be sending the recordings. So, Karen, we are going to do like we always do with the ChFC, is that we are going to go over to our very private Facebook group. It is for members of our community only. If you are not a member of the ChFC community, we have some amazing value for you back in our membership area, and that is you have access to wonderful people like Karen, but you also have access to attorneys and accountants. You have access to marriage and family counselors and child psychologists. There's real estate agents back there that can help you make that decision about selling your home and how to do it wisely. We've got insurance agents back there, mortgage brokers, people that can actually help you through this process. And do you see, that's why we call this DivorceRx. It's really a prescription plan to get you through this. We have some amazing experts, and we're there to share. It just starts at $7 a month, and I know that that's something that is reasonable, that most everybody can afford. So what you do is you go to TheCafeD.com. That's TheCafeD.com, and join in our membership community. It'll just take you about 2 minutes, and then you will join us over at our Facebook community, where our wonderful Karen Roberts will be joining us. And if you're not watching this live, just know that you can do the same thing, and you can go back into our community and talk to any of our experts at any time, and they peruse our Facebook groups all the time, answer questions about their field of expertise. That's our value to you, is that you have access to some amazing people that want to help you through this process. So we're about to go there right now. Karen, thank you so much. Emerald Financial Group, why don't you just, I know you have a slide up there, why don't you put your slide up one last time so that people can know how to reach out to you and contact you. Oh, also, I wanted to remind, we did this on our last webinar that we did together, you have some free gifts, some spreadsheets that can help people determine their budgets, their spending plans. I need to get with the program and use the right language. But I wanted to let them know that you have a special gift for them. So we're going to be back in our Facebook group, and you'll do that. Are you having challenges getting that last slide up?
There you go. Yes, I did.
Okay, let's see. I still see your beautiful face, though. So why don't you? Let's see. Can you hit share screen?
I thought I did.
I hope that you can do it if you've done it.
Hold on.
We don't normally do this, so I can. You know, technology is very rarely our friend. So there we go. Let's put that up there one last time.
There you go.
Everybody see how to reach out to Karen at the financial group. Why don't you say your telephone number so that we can actually give it it's 954-840-8334, and your email address is efg@emerald-financialgroup.com, and your website is www.emerald-financialgroup.com. Karen, thank you so much. We are on our way over to our Facebook group. Thank you so much for joining us here on the ChFC, and we will see you in just a minute talking live with Karen Roberts. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.